Hey everybody, this is John Lint, lead programmer of BB Digital Lab, and you are watching the BB&J podcast. So today we're going to be talking about getting the most out of your audience. If you've been either spending some money on marketing, running campaigns to drive people to engage with your content, or maybe you're just putting out content and getting a lot of organic growth, you may be at the point where you have a pretty good following, but it's not necessarily turning into new business for you. It's not necessarily turning into money or direct value return of investment, right? So if you're at this point, you may be asking, well, I have all these people following me and like people are engaging with my content. What am I supposed to do? How do I move forward from here? And today I'm going to go over some of the things you can do, right? Because yeah, there's the traditional ways, which I will get into, of leveraging your audience size. But then there's the ways that, especially if you're a small business owner or a business owner in general, are incredibly powerful that you can do. So the first thing I feel obligated to cover is the I guess you could say more influencer oriented forms of audience leveraging, which is promoting someone else's products. Influence marketing is an incredibly powerful tool, and a smart business is going to invest money in influencers because they have cultivated a very specific audience who is trusting that influencer as an authority in their field. So sponsorships are an excellent way to leverage your audience. A smart company will recognize the importance of an influencer, and if you are a genuine influencer, you have organic engagement, it's not just bots or paid, then they're going to see the value in that and are going to be willing to put money into getting you as part of their marketing campaign, which ends up being money for you, right? I think people tend to be more critical of this. There's this idea of, oh, well, they're just famous to be famous. And they're just like, why are people trusting them to promote these products? And I think they fail to understand the nuances of like genuine influencer marketing and how influencers communicate to and reach the audience. Genuine influencers, incredibly powerful. So if you have a sizable audience, and you know me, I like to go into my cupcake analogies. If you are an influencer in the field of baked goods, you could get a sponsorship from a cupcake company. Getting those sponsorships is a little bit more of a complicated little thing. That's not something that I have direct experience in, so I'm not going to, give you guys a checklist and then turn around and you're not getting the results you're expecting. What I will say is companies are looking for people who they think are going to be a good brand voice. So that could be, and you can showcase that through things like using their products ahead of time. Like, hey, this is a really cool product I found. That company is a lot more likely to give you a sponsorship if you're already working with that product, right? Or especially if you've promoted products in the past, or they see how you handle sponsorships, they want to know that they're going to get results. And if you have case studies that you can present them, like, hey, this brand worked with me and they got excellent results out of that marketing campaign or the money they put into it, then that's going to be a much easier sell for you. On to I guess you could say kind of more self-promotion, the things oriented in terms of you have a business, you have an audience. How do you make those things? How do you make those two work, synergize, right? If you're selling a product or a service, I'd say is easier, but by all means, sell a product, and you have an audience, target them, target them for your product or your service. Use those special deals, those limited time offers that give people a sense of urgency, because that's going to encourage them much more strongly to pull the trigger and actually convert from a viewer to a buyer. If you're in a situation where not all of the people who are in your audience need your services necessarily, so if you're a commercial realtor, not everyone needs commercial real estate. Not everyone is going to looking to buy a strip mall, but you can use that audience to reach people who are. And while only a certain percentage of people are actually going to be able to use your service, a certain percentage is more than zero. And if you're not leveraging your audience, you're not going to get anyone doing this through this channel. If you do leverage, you're going to get. So it's a question of no money, no business, or some money, some business. Even if like 0.1% of your audience turns into customers, especially when you have like a long-term service or a subscription, that's great. 1% is fantastic. I mean, if you run a small store on Etsy or Shopify, an online store where you make your luxury product or your specialty product, and you're promoting regularly, hey, we have a special new line, or maybe you make like these really cool wax honey based candles. I don't even know if that's a thing, but you're like, well, for this, there's a special Easter theme scent that's only available for a limited amount of time. That creates a sense of urgency. Utilizing those kind of techniques without being skeezy, without don't try to use the slimy sales tactic, but recognize that marketing and selling isn't always slimy. If you're doing it in a slimy way, then you're being slimy. But sales and marketing, that's just a part of life, right? So be promoting your product on your platforms. If you don't, you're not going to get sales. If you do, you're going to get sales. I don't know about you. I'd prefer to get sales. So first thing we talked about, the traditional influencer style, leveraging your audience. The second, getting your audience to make a purchase to buy your service when they normally wouldn't. Those are the big two things. Those are the things that you can really effectively do. but I will put a little bit of a nuance to the latter option, because sometimes it's not just about directly selling to people. And oftentimes, like the best selling isn't done as like, hey, there's a limited time coupon, you can do this. Some of the most effective sales you can do, and not to say you shouldn't do the other stuff, the limited time offers and or join now, you get a coupon. That's excellent. But you need to also be doing informational based, or just information, informing your audience, because that's going to make them a lot more likely to want to work with you and create the people recognize, like, oh, actually, I should do that, shouldn't I? So in the case of marketing, you can put out content about how important ad spend is, how important influencer marketing is. Let's do a quick little callback. How important producing video content is. And that's going to make people in your audience kind of like look at what they're doing and be like, I should really be doing that, shouldn't I? Who are they going to trust to go to? Who are they going to look at when you have informed them and you have just presented information as the expert of these are things you can be doing to sell homes more effectively, to have a sustainable and healthy plant-based meal, to kickstart your marketing, to to grow your social media audience. They're going to trust you because you are the expert to them. You're the one letting them know about this stuff. And it's not even, like I said, you don't have to be directly selling. It's good to be directly selling, but don't discount just letting people know things, informing your audience. You don't have to make an encyclopedia of it, but give people things that are like, oh, shucks, I didn't even think about that. That's really cool. That kind of informed content is an incredibly effective way of leveraging that audience when combined with the actual sales. Give people, that's part of like the nourishing and nurturing your audience. So if you're not doing that, start doing that. If you have been doing that, but but your audience hasn't been leading to a new business, give them an in, give them a start, something that they can buy, interact with, engage with, and move up that chain, right? A service they can use, a product they can buy to start off with. But get them started seeing that value that you can consistently deliver, that they can trust you with their money. Because if you do that, then that you can say, okay, if I grow my audience by X amount, I can get X amount of business. And that of course is the end goal of having a social media following, right? That's what you want from your social media presence. Whether or not you're an influencer company, or if you're your own company. And on that note, I'd like to thank you so much for listening and watching. We're no longer doing the Thursday podcast, but I'll be putting out articles. I do write the articles, by the way, so I hope you've been enjoying them, and trying to kind of put out more interesting content. So if you see the memes or you see the text content, yeah, we're trying to give it a little, shake things up a little bit. So let me know how you like it, I guess. But that's all I have for you today. And I hope to see you next week. Have a good one.